All right. Well, proud of the guys. Proud of how hard they played, both sides. I mean, the reality is, while I was technically picked to lead the blue team today, while there was oftentimes I looked over to my position group on the white team, but you got to be proud. You look at getting, I think, certainly not impressive offensive stats, but stats are what they are. We got the win. Dane Jackson showed some tremendous speed out there at the end of the game there to get that pick six and get us a chance to win the game. And we got presented with a 2-minute situation. We got a lot of work. And the reality is today for us, it's practice 15, but we get a chance to have a little bit of fun and divide the team up. And from the minute we started the draft last week until the end of the game today, I think that's what we saw was our kids having fun, playing hard from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, really during practice 15, and you got a chance to see some kids make some plays. So with no further comments, I'll open it up for any questions you have.
Of course, it goes by the coach's whistle on these sacks.
Yes.
Your D-line guys, on both sides had 9.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Are they doing things you want to see them do?
They really have, and Chris, they've been doing it all spring. I've talked about kind of the growth pattern of this group. Obviously, we had almost everybody back from a year ago, a year where we didn't get the amount of sacks that we want, and you can't predict what we're going to do in the fall, but I certainly like the trend that we're on. It took a year to get them in position to where now they know. You often hear me talk about taking calculated risks. They're really starting to learn how to do those and to fix it if that risk doesn't work. So proud of the progress they made, and I think that's what everybody got to see today in a live team action type of scrimmage. So I'm excited about where we're headed from here.
Stain's interception, the kind of play that you expect a veteran guy to make when they've been going to the well a few times on the sideline.
Yeah, it's fun for a senior, a guy who's played a ton of football for us around here, to go out there and make that kind of a play. But it is, and I think he kind of opened everybody's eyes when he turned the Jets on, because it looked like the guys in the white jerseys had angles on him, and he outran them. So that's fun to see, and maybe you'll see him do some more kick return, punt return after that touchdown here today.
Tough to feel too bad as a defensive coach when it's 2 field goals to the side and a defensive touchdown?
Well, I told, it's funny how after the draft, and we still have full position meetings, the gold and the blue D-line come into the D-line room, and the gold D-lineman didn't quite know how to act. I go, guys, relax. We're still on the same team. The good news there with that is that they're hyper competitive right now in everything that they do. And I think that's a big deal, especially going into the offseason. There's a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and I'm talking about team-wide. And you're exactly right. I told them at that point, I said, fellas, listen, obviously I'd like the blue team to win because that's what I've been assigned to. But the reality is I'd be happy with and I think I said something along the lines of a 3-0 win or something like that. And that's what happened today. As a defensive coach, I'm excited about where we are. And I think when you split the team up like this and you have a draft, and what you see is that we've got some defensive depth. And to have some success on the defensive line, you need, and I've said this since I walked in the door, anywhere from 8 to 10 kids that you feel can play winning football at this level. And I think you look at it today and you feel like we have that.
Weaver sort of getting around the edge every time, pretty much, no matter what side he was on. Is that sort of what he's just been doing all spring, and why the guys have spoken so highly of him?
Yeah, that's part of it, and he's made a lot of plays with awareness. He's aware of the full formation, where the back is, what that means, how to respond. There was a play where they handed off a jet today, and he knew by formation that there was chances it was coming. There was a play where he took a risk. It was a TFL late in the game when they were going towards the big scoreboard, towards the river. So yes, it's certainly his ability, but here's a kid who was pre-med and decided to change the business and kills it in school. He's a machine. I wouldn't be shocked if right now he's already showered out of here and going somewhere to either spend time with friends or study. But he's just a machine, and athletically it shows up, and then certainly the way he responds. But when you talk about the draft and okay, where's our depth and who's important, one of the most critical ones when we knew the gold team had Dwayne Hendricks, that made 17 an enormous priority so that they didn't have both those guys on the field at the same time in a split-up scrimmage. That kind of tells you how much respect both those guys have from all their teammates.
So you're quite looking forward to getting them both guys on the field.
Yeah, I am. I really am. And 40. I'm proud of Folston. He really did a nice job today. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to go because he's been fighting some soft tissue stuff. But he battled through, and he went, I think, all the way until the fourth quarter. So he showed a lot of toughness to me today when he hasn't been able to get a lot of reps. But he's aware. I mean, it's pretty obvious that what you're seeing from Weaver and Hendricks, they're taking advantage of all the reps that they're getting when they get that chance on the field.
Coach, a lot of those sacks look like they're a result of coverage down the field. How do you feel about the players' secondary overall?
Thought they did a really nice job, and I'm really talking about both teams. You know, there was one series there where, you know, we had a pressure on and got out of position. It was over on Stocker's side, and he just got out of position and then kind of ducked his head on the tackle. But overall, we didn't cut anybody loose. There was a couple trick plays that none of you guys even realized were there, kind of attacking our coverage. That's a good thing, right? That nobody knew that they really happened. I mean, they're just playing with some awareness, some savvy. They're communicating extremely well. And you talk about, you know, our new defensive coaches with Coach Collins, Coach Sanders, and of course Coach Bates. I think they've really done a nice job of forcing these kids to communicate. And that's where you make sure you don't turn anybody loose. You know, and there was one other play where, you know, Bryson came down on a jet and didn't force it the way we want, but that secondary's playing well, and there's no question that leads to sacks, you know, as the quarterback is forced to hold the ball.
With this being your second year with this D-line, Charlie, how much more of a sense of comfort or overall knowledge have you noticed from them these past few weeks?
You know, it's interesting because we often meet as a D-line. We steal some extra meeting time during special teams meetings. Jimmy Medore was the primary D-lineman that got a lot of special teams meetings. So the rest of us met, and what we often did was we would pick a game, pull a game, I'd reorder it, but we'd look at games from last year and to see where we are even now compared to even some of the late games last year. But when you put on early games, you know, you put on the Syracuse game or some of those games early in the year when really this entire group was still together other than Allen, it's quite a jump that we've made. It's from a fundamental standpoint, a reaction and awareness. It's not even close. So it's hard to even put into words how far we've come. I just hope, like today, again, a unique setup with the draft and the team split, but I hope like today we continue to grow and it shows up on Saturdays in the fall. I think it has a chance to.